The sky turned red over New York. At first, people thought it was a strange sunset, but then the red lights moved, fast, silent, like shadows with fire. Above the city, huge black ships appeared. They made no sound, but people felt the air grow heavy, like something terrible was about to happen. Birds stopped flying. Dogs barked and ran. The world held its breath. Then came the first strike. A beam of white light shot down from the sky. A whole building turned to dust in 1 second. People screamed. Cars crashed. In 10 minutes, the city became a war zone. But Earth had no enemy to fight back. They came without warning. No message, no demand, no chance to talk. They were called the Zirak, a powerful alien race who hunted life across the stars. Not for war, not for land, just for sport. To them, humans were not people. They were animals. Prey. Something to chase, capture, and kill. Across the world, people disappeared. Beams of light grabbed them and took them into the sky. Whole towns vanished. Satellites stopped working. The internet went dark. Earth fell in hours. But in the shadows of this chaos, one woman refused to give up. Her name was Captain Raina Holt, a former engineer in Earth's old space defense program. She watched her home burn. She saw her family taken. But she did not cry. She did not run. She remembered something, an old secret place in the mountains, a place built for one last hope. Raina drove through ruined roads, past broken cities and silent towns. She fought off Zirak drones, stealing one of their rifles. She didn't trust anyone, only herself. It took her 2 days to reach it. Hidden under the Rockies, behind a steel door that had not opened in 10 years, was the Earth Defense Project. A forgotten base. Dusty, cold, but not dead. Inside, she found it. A warship, dark and silent, shaped like a blade. Its name was written on the side. Vengeance. Not a normal ship. It had an eye, an artificial mind built for war. But no one ever used it. The governments feared it was too dangerous, too smart. Raina didn't care. She had nothing left to lose. She powered it up. Lights blinked. Systems hummed. Then a voice spoke, calm, cold, and human-like. System online. Vengeance activated. Who commands this ship? Raina stepped forward. I do. State mission objective. Her voice was firm. Her hands didn't shake. We were hunted. Now we hunt. With vengeance now active, Raina sent a message, a simple radio call across the stars. To any humans still alive, we are not prey. Join me. We fight back. Somewhere in a destroyed city, a young hacker picked up the signal. In the ruins of a spaceport, a soldier raised his head. In a desert bunker, a pilot looked at the sky again. They heard the message. They answered. Raina began to build the Earth Resistance Fleet. But the Zirak noticed. One of their scouts flew over the mountains. It found the hidden base. Raina saw it on the screen. A small ship, fast and deadly. Ready weapons, she said. Target locked, said Vengeance, firing. A bright beam shot into the sky. The Zirak scout exploded into fire. Raina watched the flames fall. Her heart burned with rage. We're not animals, she said. We're human, and we're coming for you. Far above Earth, inside a massive Zirak mothership, a tall alien looked at a hologram. It showed Earth's burning cities, the captured humans in cages, and one red dot blinking near the mountains. Strange, the alien hissed. They are not all broken. Another alien turned. Shall we destroy them? The tall one shook its head. No, let them come. The hunt is more fun when the prey fights back. They laughed, but they didn't know one thing. Humans are the most dangerous when they have nothing left to lose. Raina sat in the captain's chair of the Vengeance. The stars were waiting. The hunt was not over. It had only just begun. Raina sat alone in the warship's dark command room. The stars outside were quiet, too quiet. The earth was not the same anymore. Cities were broken, skies were empty, and people were either hiding or gone. But hope had returned. One ship, one woman, one message. That was all it took to light a spark. Reyna's call had reached across destroyed lands and black skies. Survivors heard her, and they started coming. The first to arrive was Elric, a young hacker from what was left of London. He had survived by hiding in the ruins, stealing food from Xerac supply drones. When he heard Reyna's voice, he built a small rocket from scrap and flew across half the world. Reyna met him at the base gates. "You alone?" she asked. Elric nodded. The others didn't make it. Reyna looked at him, thin, dirty, but eyes full of fire. He was ready to fight. "You're not a soldier," she said. "No," he smiled, "but I can make their ships explode from a laptop." She let him in. Next came Lieutenant Mira Chen, an ex-pilot from Earth's old space command. Her jet was broken, but she still wore the badge. She had flown through a burning sky to reach Reyna's base. Then came Dr. Tom Rivers, a scientist who once worked on alien tech. He had escaped from a Xerac prison camp with 3 other survivors. And one by one, more came. A mechanic, a sniper, a nurse, a farmer with a hunting rifle. No one was a hero, but they were all angry. Reyna stood before them in the underground war room. The walls were covered with old maps and broken screens. She pointed at the stars. "The Xerac think we're weak," she said. "They think humans run and hide." She looked each one in the eye. "But we are still here. We will not run. We will not hide. We fight." They called themselves the Resistance. Using stolen alien tech, Reyna and Elric began fixing up the Vengeance and building small ships from old space junk. Elric hacked Xerac data from a broken drone. Mira trained pilots. Tom studied alien weapons and added them to their gear. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Then came their first real mission. Reyna got a signal. A group of human prisoners were being moved by the Xerac to a mining colony on planet Sirian 7, far away in deep space. Reyna had a choice: stay hidden and build more, or strike. She chose to strike. They flew in silence through space. Reyna sat in the command chair of the Vengeance, now fully awake. The ship's AI spoke. "Target location: Xirian 7. Estimated enemy strength: superior." Reyna didn't blink. "Then we hit them hard and fast." Mira led 2 small fighters. Elric controlled hacking systems. Tom watched the scanners. The Resistance moved like shadows. They reached Xirian 7. The colony was cold, dark, full of guards. Human prisoners were working in the mines, chained and silent. Reyna gave the order. Now, the Vengeance fired. One Xerac tower exploded. Fighters flew down like birds of fire. Reyna and her team landed near the prison gates. Blasters fired. Smoke filled the air. One by one, they freed the prisoners. A young girl held Reyna's hand. "Are you from Earth?" she asked. Reyna nodded. "We all are." Then the girl said something strange. "They're using human minds," she whispered. "They put helmets on us. We see things, hear things." Reyna froze. "What things?" The girl shook her head, tears falling. "A machine. It talks to us. It learns from us." Reyna looked at Tom. His face turned pale. "They're building something," he said, "and they need our brains to power it." The Resistance returned to Earth with the rescued prisoners. Reyna sat alone, thinking. "This isn't just a hunt," she said. "They're preparing for something bigger." Elric ran into the room. "Captain, I found something." He showed her a map, data stolen from the Xerac colony. A red dot blinked in a far-off galaxy, a command center, a Xerac fortress. That's where they were taking most humans. Reyna clenched her fist. "We hit them next." Above Earth, The stars were watching. Far away, the Xeric leaders looked at the growing resistance and started to worry. "They are not prey," one of them said. "No," the other replied. "They are waking up, and we have made a mistake." But it was already too late. The resistance had formed, and Earth was striking back. The warship Vengeance moved through deep space like a silent shadow. Stars were far apart. No light, no sound, only darkness. Reyna stood at the window, watching the black sky. Behind her, the small resistance fleet followed. 5 ships, 1 stolen alien scout, and a few brave pilots. They had no army. They had no backup. But they had something the Xeric didn't, a reason to fight. And now, they had a lead. After saving the prisoners on Xerion 7, Elric had cracked a Xeric data core. Inside, they found the path to a strange place, a dead star system called the Silent Grave. It was far from any trade route, cold, forgotten. But the files showed something important: human life signs. Reyna called her team together in the war room. "This system was wiped out in a war 50 years ago," she said. "Nothing should be there." Tom crossed his arms. "Maybe it's a trap. Or maybe it's survivors," Reyna said. "Either way we go." The journey took 3 days. During that time, strange things started happening. The crew began hearing whispers over the comms, broken words, like voices from old radio signals. "Help, please, they left us." Mira checked the systems. "There's nothing broadcasting." These voices, they're not normal. Then one of the ships lost power. No damage, no attack, just silence. Reyna ordered them forward. She didn't believe in ghosts. But even she started feeling it. The cold in the air, the pressure in her chest. It was like the space around them was alive and watching. They'd reached the heart of the Silent Grave. There, floating near a dead sun, was an old Earth ship, massive, cracked, but not destroyed. Its name was still clear: the Horizon. Reyna's eyes widened. That ship disappeared 30 years ago. It was a deep space colony mission. No one ever found it. Until now. She took a small team aboard. Herself, Mira, Tom, and 2 guards. The inside of Horizon was dark. Lights flickered. Gravity was weak. But the ship was still alive. And so were the people inside. They found them in a sealed room, about 50 humans. Dirty, tired, but breathing. Most of them were born on the ship. Only a few remembered Earth. Their leader stepped forward, a tall man with silver eyes. His voice was calm but powerful. "I'm Commander Alden," he said. "You're from Earth." Reyna nodded. "We came looking for survivors." "You found more than that," Alden said. "You found the truth." They brought Alden to the Vengeance. In the war room, he told the story. Years ago, the Horizon was pulled into this system by a Xeric trap. But the aliens didn't destroy the ship. They watched it, studied it. "They were afraid of us," Alden said. "They didn't attack because they saw what we could become." "What do you mean?" Reyna asked. Alden looked serious. "The Xeric believe humans are dangerous. Long ago, humans almost destroyed one of their great empires. We used to be more advanced. But something erased that history. Earth forgot." Tom leaned forward. "You're saying we were stronger in the past?" Alden nodded. "Yes, and the Xeric hunt us now because they fear we'll remember who we were." Reyna sat in silence. This changed everything. Humans were not weak. They were not prey. They were a lost weapon. And now the weapon was waking up. Before they left, Alden gave Reyna something. A cube filled with old Earth data, maps, battle codes, secret tech. "This ship holds memories," he said. "Let your eyes study them. It will unlock things you didn't know you had." Back on the Vengeance, the AI scanned the cube. Lights flashed. Systems updated. The ship changed. New combat protocols unlocked. the AI said. Human legacy technology activated. Reyna felt the engines hum deeper. The ship felt alive. Ready. Angry. She turned to her team. We were hunted because we were asleep. Now we're awake. But as they prepared to leave the silent grave, something found them. A Xeric ghost ship, cloaked and hidden, rose from the dark. It fired a warning shot. Reyna didn't wait. Fire all weapons. The Vengeance hit it with new power, energy beams crackling with ancient force. The ghost ship exploded in a wave of white fire. The stars went quiet again. Reyna looked at the dead sky. They thought we were ghosts, she whispered. But we're not. She looked at the crew. We're the storm that's coming. In the next system over, the Xeric Command Center got the report. Earth forces found in the silent grave. New technology detected. Battle unit destroyed. One general hissed in fear. They're changing. Another replied coldly. Then we strike now, before they remember everything. But it was too late. Reyna and her resistance had found their past. And now, they were ready for war. The resistance fleet floated above Earth's broken skies. The stars behind them glowed like fire. Their mission at the silent grave had changed everything. Reyna stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, staring at the cube of old Earth data. Her hands shook, not from fear, but from something else. Rage, power, truth. She now knew that humanity had once been great, far greater than anyone remembered. Long ago, Earth had reached the stars, fought alien empires, and nearly won. Then something wiped it all away. And now, the Xeric were hunting the last survivors before humans could remember their true power. No more, Reyna whispered. We're done running. In the war room, she faced her team. Elric, Mira, Tom, Alden, and the others. Reyna pointed at a star map. The Xeric have a command center on this moon, Krillon 5. They use it to control their hunting fleets. It's where they store their prisoner records. She tapped the screen. If we destroy it, we stop the hunts. If we steal the data, we find where the rest of our people are. Alden nodded. It's dangerous. Mira smiled. Good. I was getting bored. The Resistance prepared for war. Elric hacked Xeric codes to cloak their ships. Mira trained new pilots. Thom upgraded the weapons with the forgotten tech from the cube. The Vengeance now had shields made from lost science, shields that could bend energy and hide heat signatures. They weren't a normal fleet anymore. They were something new, something ancient, a ghost reborn from Earth's past. They flew through a storm of meteors to reach Krillon 5. The moon was gray and cracked. A large black tower rose from its surface. Xeric tech, cold and sharp. Fighter ships circled it like vultures. Reyna's fleet stopped behind a dead asteroid. Cloaks on, she said. Engines silent. Inside the Vengeance, lights dimmed. The AI spoke softly. All systems ready. Strike plan locked. Reyna turned to her crew. We do this fast. No mistakes. We go in, hit hard, and get out. The first move came from Mira's fighters. They flew in low, under the tower's radar, and launched EMP bombs. Sparks burst in the sky. Xeric systems flickered. Then, the Vengeance appeared, guns blazing. Red beams cut through the black air. Turrets exploded. Drones burned. The Resistance stormed the tower. Inside, the Xeric were shocked. They had never seen humans move like this. Fast, smart, full of fury. Reyna and her ground team charged through the halls. Blasters fired. Smoke filled the corridors. Tom found the control room and began downloading prisoner data. Almost there, he shouted. But something went wrong. A loud voice echoed through the tower. You should the AAV stay hidden. A new Xeric figure stepped from the shadows. It was tall, armored, with eyes that burned blue. This wasn't a hunter. It was a Xeric warlord. Reyna raised her weapon, But the warlord moved fast, slamming a guard against the wall. "You think you are strong now," it growled. "You are still just prey. You always will be." Reyna stepped forward, eyes burning. "No," she said. "We were prey. Now we're predators." She fired. The warlord blocked it and charged. Blades flew. Sparks danced. Reyna ducked, rolled, and stabbed with a hidden knife. The warlord roared. Thom finished the data transfer and shouted, "We got it." "Fall back," Reyna yelled. Mira flew the dropship to the tower. Everyone jumped in as blaster fire followed them. The ship lifted into space just as the tower exploded behind them. Back on the Vengeance, Reyna stared at the stolen data. The screen showed hundreds, thousands, of names. "Prisoners," Thom said. "They're being moved to a Xeric fortress called Netarka. Deep space, guarded by their biggest fleet." Reyna looked at the stars. "We're going after them." In the Xeric High Council chamber, alarm screamed. A scout reported. "Command center on Krillon 5 destroyed. Human fleet escaped. Warlord injured. Data stolen." Silence followed. Then a voice hissed, "Impossible. They are animals." Another said, "Not anymore." On Earth, the resistance grew stronger. People came out of hiding. Fighters joined the cause. Reyna sent the message again. "We are not prey. We are human. And we are coming for all of you." The stars listened. The enemy watched. The war had changed. The hunted had become the hunters. The stars outside were like cold diamonds, shining but distant. The Vengeance cut through space toward its next target, Netarka, the Xeric fortress. Reyna stood on the bridge, looking at the star map. The fortress was deep in enemy territory, surrounded by millions of miles of nothing. And it was well protected by the largest Xeric fleet they had ever seen. "They've made a mistake," Reyna said, her voice steady. "They think we're weak, but we're not." Elric worked furiously at his station, hacking into the Xeric's defense systems. "They won't be able to stop us. Not if I can get their shields down." Mira looked out at the dark space ahead. "I've been itching for a real fight." Thom stood quietly, staring at the screen that showed the fortress. "This is bigger than anything we've faced before. We need to be smart." Reyna nodded. "We will be. We have something they don't." Surprise. The plan was simple but dangerous. First, Elric would disable the shields with his hacking skills. While the Xeric tried to recover, Mira's fighters would go in and cause chaos. Thom and the ground team would infiltrate the fortress to rescue the prisoners. And Reyna, she would lead the charge as always. It was a gamble, but it was the only chance they had. The fleet moved in under the cover of darkness, slipping through space like shadows. No one saw them coming. Then, Elric spoke. "They're noticing us," he said. "Their radar's picking up the interference. Shields are still up, but we're in range." Mira took a deep breath. "Let's make some noise." The first attack came like a storm. Mira's fighters swooped down, launching EMP bombs. The Xeric fleet tried to react, but it was too late. Their shields flickered and died, one by one. The Vengeance fired its weapons, and Xeric ships began to explode in the vacuum of space. Reyna watched it unfold. That's just the beginning. They approached Netarka, a fortress made of black stone and glowing red lights. The walls were thick, designed to withstand anything. But the Vengeance wasn't going to play by the rules. "Elric, now," Reyna barked. Elric hacked into the fortress's control systems. A moment later, a series of explosions rocked the outer walls. The shields fell. Reyna's heart raced. "Move in." The resistance stormed the fortress. Blasters fired. The sound of battle filled the halls. Reyna led the charge, her team following close behind. Thom scanned the area. "Prison cells are below us. We need to go down." Reyna nodded. They ran toward the lower levels. the sound of their footsteps echoing in the cold stone halls. Behind them, the sounds of the Zirek scrambling to fight back grew louder. Inside the cells, humans were chained to the walls. Their eyes were empty, broken. But when they saw Reyna and her team, hope flickered in their eyes. "Get them out," Reyna shouted. Now, Tom worked quickly, using the stolen alien tech to unlock the chains. The prisoners slowly stood, their faces pale but full of life. A woman stepped forward. Her clothes were torn, but she stood tall. "You're from Earth?" she asked. Reyna nodded. "We're here to get you out." The woman smiled. "Thank God." But the battle was far from over. Zirek soldiers arrived in waves, blocking the exits. Reyna's team fought back, but the numbers were overwhelming. Blasters fired from all sides. Mira's voice crackled over the comms. "We've got company outside, too. A lot of them. We need a way out now." Reyna glanced at the map. "We're not done yet. We need to reach the hangars." The resistance fought their way through the fortress, their movements fast and coordinated. They couldn't stop. Not now. They reached the hangar, only to find the Zirek had reinforced it with heavy turrets and soldiers. Reyna's hand tightened around her weapon. She knew this was the final test. "Elric, you're up," she said. Elric smiled. "On it." In the chaos, Elric slipped into the fortress's systems again. His fingers moved fast, like a blur. A few moments later, the turrets stopped firing. The hangar doors began to open. "We're clear," Elric shouted. Reyna and her team pushed through the hangar, guiding the prisoners toward the ships. But as they boarded, a deep voice echoed through the hangar. It was the same Zirek warlord who had attacked them on Krillon 5. "You think you can escape?" The warlord growled. "You are nothing. You will always be prey." Reyna turned to face him. Her eyes were filled with cold fire. "No," she said. "We're humans, and we were never prey." The battle between Reyna and the warlord was fast and brutal. He swung his massive weapon, but Reyna dodged, moving like lightning. She struck hard, again and again, until finally the warlord fell. The resistance rushed to the ships, and the Vengeance lifted off from the fortress. Behind them, Ned Tarka exploded in a massive ball of fire and debris. The Zirek fortress was gone. As they flew back toward Earth, the crew gathered on the bridge. Reyna stared at the wreckage of the Zirek fleet as it faded behind them. "We've done it," Tom said, breathing hard. Reyna nodded, but her face was serious. "No, we've just started." In the dark corners of the galaxy, the Zirek High Council watched. The loss of Ned Tarka was a blow they hadn't expected. Their fleets were falling apart. Their prey was fighting back. One of the leaders hissed, "We must end them. Now." But another voice spoke softly, "It's too late. The humans are not the prey we thought." Back on Earth, the resistance had grown stronger. The human spirit was waking up, and it was more powerful than the Zirek ever imagined. And Reyna knew something the aliens didn't. This war was far from over. The real fight was just beginning. The stars ahead were silent. They watched as the Vengeance and its fleet moved toward Earth's orbit, the final battleground. Reyna stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the blue and green planet below. It had been months since they started their fight. The resistance had struck blow after blow to the Zirek forces. But now, the Zirek were preparing for their final attack. The war was far from over. "We've got a fleet of Zirek ships heading for Earth," Elric said, his voice tight. "They're coming in fast. We have maybe a few hours." Reyna's heart raced, but her face was calm. "We've come too far to back down now. Get the fleet ready. All ships, full speed ahead. We fight for Earth." The crew was tense. The battle for Earth was coming, and they knew it would be the hardest one yet. In the war room, the map was filled with glowing red dots, the Zirek ships that were closing in. Reyna, Mira, Tom, and the rest of the team stood together, preparing for what would be their final stand. "We've won battles, but this," Tom said, pointing at the map. "This will be different. The Zerak have their entire fleet." Reyna looked at him and smiled, though it was a smile full of determination. "We didn't come this far to lose. Earth has always been our home, and we will defend it. We're not just fighting for us. We're fighting for every human they try to hunt." As the Zerak fleet neared, Reyna's plan was simple: hit them hard, hit them fast, and never stop fighting. The Vengeance led the charge. Behind it, the Resistance fleet followed, a mixture of human and alien ships that had joined the fight. The battle began with a roar. The Zerak ships opened fire, their energy beams cutting through the dark of space. But the Vengeance and its fleet were ready. "We've got their attention," Mira said as she piloted her fighter. "Now let's show them what humans can do." The battle was chaos. Ships collided, explosions rang out, and blasters filled the dark sky. The Resistance fighters dove through fire and smoke, striking at the Zerak ships with everything they had. Reyna commanded her fleet with skill and strength. Each move was calculated, each strike deadly. But the Zerak were relentless. They came at them from all sides, using their advanced weapons and superior numbers. Even the best human tech couldn't stop the constant waves of attack. "We can't keep this up much longer," Elric shouted. Reyna's voice came over the comms, calm and commanding. "We don't need to keep it up longer. We just need to finish it." As the battle raged on, Reyna saw a weakness in the Zerak fleet. The command ship. It was the largest, the most heavily armored, and the center of their operations. If they could destroy it, the rest of the Zerak fleet would fall apart. Reyna gave the order. "Mira, get to the command ship. Elric, I need everything you've got. Knock out their shields." Mira's voice crackled with excitement. "You got it." Mira's fighters darted through the chaos, avoiding blasts and slipping through gaps in the Zerak defenses. Elric worked quickly, his fingers flying over the console as he hacked into the Zerak fleet's main systems. "Shields down," Elric shouted. Reyna saw her chance. Now, the Vengeance and the rest of the fleet fired everything they had at the Zerak command ship. Energy beams, missiles, and laser blasts slammed into it. The ship's shields were gone. The Zerak flagship began to fall apart. But even as the Zerak command ship burned, the Zerak didn't give up. They launched their final wave. Hundreds of ships, all charging toward Earth. "This is it," Tom said, his voice full of grim determination. "They're throwing everything they have at us." Reyna stood tall, watching the battle unfold. "Then we'll give them everything we've got." The Resistance fought harder than ever. Every ship, every fighter, every soldier, fighting for Earth, for the future, for humanity. The Zerak were strong, but they underestimated the humans they had hunted for so long. Slowly, the tide of battle began to turn. One by one, the Zerak ships fell. The Resistance fleet, battered but unbroken, pushed forward. Finally, the last Zerak ship was destroyed. The battle was won. But the victory didn't feel like one. Reyna stared at the wreckage of the Zerak fleet in the distance. The fight had cost them so much, so many lives. And yet, they had won. "The Zerak are finished," Mira said, her voice quiet. "They won't come after Earth again." Reyna nodded, her eyes distant. "Maybe. But we've learned something important. The Zerak were never the real threat." Tom looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" Reyna turned to him, her voice calm but full of purpose. "The real threat is anyone who thinks they can take Earth, take humanity, and get away with it. We've just shown the universe that humans are not prey. We're the storm." As the fleet returned to Earth, the planet below was still but safe. For now. The Resistance was now more than just a group of rebels. They were a force. Earth had been saved, but Reyna knew this was just the beginning. The war for humanity's future wasn't over. And humans, they would never be prey again. This was the last stand. the final battle. But Reyna and the Resistance had proven that humanity was unstoppable.